הזכרנו קודם שיש כ-300 חברות, מרכזי מו"פ זרים בישראל, ואם נסתכל על הפילוג שלהם, אנחנו נראה שרובם, כמובן בתחום התוכנה, בתחום התקשורת, בתחום מה שאנחנו קוראים ה-ICT, אבל יש תחום אחד שבו לא נמצא כמעט חברות גלובליות, חברות זרות שבאו להקים כאן מרכזי מו"פ, וזה התחום של מדעי החיים, וספציפית בעולם של הפארמה. וזה כאשר ידוע לכולנו שיש אקדמיה מאוד חזקה בתחום הזה, כמות הבוגרים PhDs בתחומים האלה, בתחומים הביולוגיים, זה בערך מחצית ה-PhDs שמסיימים במדינת ישראל בעולם של המדע, הטכנולוגיה, ההנדסה וכך הלאה. זאת אומרת, על פניו נראה כאילו יש פה איזשהו פוטנציאל מצוין, אבל מצד שני זה לא קורה. אז לצורך העניין הזה לא הזמנו מנהל של מרכז מו"פ של חברת פארמה, כי היה קשה למצוא, אבל כן הזמנו פה את תמר סילברברג, מיכל סילברברג, שהיא משמשת כסיניור דירקטור לאקסטרנל אינוביישן בחברת תקדה, חברת הפארמה הגדולה. היא נמצאת פה בין היתר כדי להסתכל על השוק הישראלי וגם על השוק האירופאי, אבל למצוא כן את ההזדמנויות לחדשנות עבור חברת פארמה בינלאומית. קודם כל נקווה שתצליחי, אבל בואי נשמע קודם את התובנות שלך.
צהריים טובים לכולם. I'm an outlier in this presentation, and I will even speak in English, so you will remember I was even more of an outlier. So, how do you switch the slides here? Okay. Takeda Pharmaceutical is a global company with its biggest presence in Japan. Its origin is in Japan, 235 years of heritage based in Japan. The company has gone through major changes in the last couple years, but if you look at our picture, we are a global company. We're in different focus therapeutic areas, and our revenues currently are almost $7 billion, over 70 countries and 30,000 employees. So I was invited here today to talk about the R&D centers, and unfortunately, Takeda does not have an R&D center here in Israel, and I will explain why in my presentation, why I think that Israel is not mature enough to have an R&D center at this point, at least in the eyes of Takeda and some other pharmaceutical companies. So if you look at this map, this is a global map and showing you where there are different R&D centers for Takeda in the world. And if you look at this map a couple years ago, it tends to change. And what's the reason that it changes every couple of years? And the reason is that when a pharmaceutical company wants to put together an R&D center, what's important for them are a couple of things. Human resource is one of the most important points. The know-how, how you actually take a drug, do discovery, and then develop it. In addition, it's the innovation. It's really where there's innovation, and that's where Israel is very good at, and I'll get to that. And in addition to that, where are their financial resources to do so? If you look a couple years ago, Singapore was one of the places where many pharmaceutical companies had R&D centers, and if you look today, many have closed them down and have moved to other hubs. As an example for today, a successful hub, and I'll try and use that example to explain and see how Israel could go into that direction, is the hub of R&D in Boston. And specifically, again, looking a couple years ago, Boston was not a center of R&D, but what made it to be one of the key centers for, I think, most of the pharmaceutical companies today is the fact they started with very excellent academics there. So there are many institutions in Boston which are going and developing the pipeline of the future for pharmaceutical companies. But what's unique about Boston is, in addition to that academic excellence, the government, and specifically of Massachusetts, was able to invest many dollars and help translate that innovation from academia to industry. And in life sciences, you can't just take opportunities from academia and translate them directly into a drug on the market. That takes probably about 10 years and over $1 billion to do so. And therefore, there is this gap that is really needed to do this right translational. In addition, in Boston, what happened were that there have been a couple venture capitals. And even if you look at 2014 as an example, there was over $1.8 billion of venture capital spent in Boston. And that really boosts the innovation there, and that boosts the pipeline for the pharmaceutical companies. And that also builds up the human resources that are needed for the R&D center. So again, why is Takeda here in Israel, and why am I doing my job here? So a couple of years ago, actually about 4 years ago, we had some senior managers come from Japan and some other countries to Israel, and they were really impressed by the academic excellence. It is top notch, and even if when we compare it to the world, entrepreneurial spirit. They love the fact that there is no lack of fear, like in Japan. They love that we could actually come up with ideas and leave our jobs to create startups. They love that. There's a proven track record. So just for you guys who are not in this industry, if you look at today's revenues, and actually I have a number to 2014, if you look at IP that is connected to drugs, to revenues of drugs that are on the market globally, there's over $40 billion of sales that you could connect to IP that was generated in Israel, and that's really impressive. So we do have the track record. We do know that those innovations are turning into drugs, but they're not turning into drugs just in Israel. So it's very rare. So Teva would be your exception here. In addition, they were very happy to see the government and the financial support that the government is willing to help with, and that's a big deal for de-risking our investments here in Israel. And nevertheless, so what were the gaps that were identified? I think I spoke about that before, but it's really important to understand that there is a lack of expertise here. So if I compare, the life science industry and where it is today, unfortunately, we don't have enough talent here. We don't have the talent that's needed to do drug discovery. We have the academics, but again, translational of that academic excellence is needed, and that's where we believe Israel needs to invest. In addition, we don't have the managers that are needed to actually take those companies and move them forward, and that's very important as well. So what did we come up with? Takeda actually decided they wanted to invest in Israel, and the solution that came up was look at all the good that Israel has to give, which is the academic strength, the government support, the innovation, and the entrepreneurial spirit. And actually, we put together a biotech incubator, which is supported very generously by the government of Israel through the chief scientists of Israel. And what we were able to do is bring two partners actually. One is J&J that you're probably familiar with, and the other one is OrbiMed, which is a leading venture capital. And we put together a biotech incubator, which was established in 2014. And today, we actually have 8 companies that are up and running. They're all independent companies. We are hoping to have their 40 companies. Each one has a budget of $2.1 million. And where are we getting our technologies from? So that is where the Weizmann Institute is one institute that we work closely with, and we have 2 companies that came out of the Weizmann Institute, but there are many others in Israel that we are working with, and the 6 other are coming from. We have sourced over 600 projects. So when I come to what's the reason that Takeda is in Israel, and does Israel have a lot to offer? Yes. We don't see these numbers of sourcing in other places in the world. So there's a lot of innovation. There's a lot of early stage. In addition to that, in this incubator, we were able to actually have staff full management of 11 people that are just dedicated to this. So they have experience, and we're working very closely with them. And the contribution of the pharmaceutical companies, Takeda and J&J, is really bringing the know-how. So my job is to ensure that the companies in there are getting the training, they're getting the expertise that are needed, and that is how I bring, from different parts of Takeda, and J&J does the same, the expertise, and this is a win-win because we're able to be close to the innovation, but also guide it. And this is our contribution to help this translational and help build the industry of the life sciences.